In this lesson, we're going to be discussing the order of operations. Do you remember PEMDAS? Okay, that's the acronym. Perhaps you remember the mnemonic, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or some other form of it. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to remember what the correct order that the operation should be performed in when trying to simplify algebraic and numerical expressions. And by the end of the lesson, you should remember the mnemonic for order of operations. So you should have to memory, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or PEMDAS if you do not already. You need to remember that. That is something that you will be using for the rest of the year and probably the rest of your math careers. So here we go. Order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Well, what does that mean? Okay, so when we're solving an expression, we want to follow these steps. The P in please stands for parentheses. So we want to do anything inside parentheses first. The next thing we want to do are exponents. So anything raised to a power, remember, is an exponent. Next, we want to multiply and divide. We read equations like we read a book, from left to right. So you want to multiply and divide as your third step together. And lastly, you can deduce that A and S stand for add and subtract, and you also want to do those things at the same time from left to right in an equation. Now, a definition for simplify. Simplifying simply means to make something look and feel more simple. All right? We're not changing anything, we're just making it look better. So you might think of simplifying as solving. The easiest thing to simplify are numeric expressions. So for example, 8 plus 2 is a numeric expression. If we simplify that, we simplify it to just 10. Okay? But however, the reason we're going to use simplify instead of solve is because when we add algebra into it, when we're using algebraic expressions, we might not know that value for the variable. So we can't actually solve the problem until we know that value. So we are just going to write it in its simplest form. How does this apply? So let's look at this problem here. We have 12 minus 25 divided by 5. So remember, we should write this down in order to remember. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or PEMDAS. So the first thing we're going to look for is parentheses. Well, we don't see parentheses here, so we're not going to use that. We don't see exponents, we're not going to use that. Next, we multiply and divide at the same time. So going from left to right, we look for our first multiplication or division. Here it is, so we're going to do that first. 25 divided by 5 is simply 5. We rewrite the rest of the equation by bringing it down. So now that we've done that, now we only have one operation left. It doesn't matter what it is. When we're down to one operation, we just go ahead and solve it. 12 minus 5 is 7. The next problem, we do have parentheses first. So we're going to work inside the parentheses first. So 6 minus 2 is, of course, 4. And then we rewrite everything else. Raise that to the third power, then divide by 2. Now we're done with parentheses. There are no more. Now each step you want to re-go through this to make sure that they don't exist. So now we've done parentheses. They're all gone. Now we have exponents. So if there's only one exponent, we're going to go ahead and write that. We should get 4 to the third, which is 64. We're going to rewrite the negative 2, or divided by 2. Now we're down to one operation. 64 divided by 2 is just 32. That is our answer. Last example, Parentheses, well, we don't have any parentheses here, so the next thing we're going to look for is exponents. So we have to solve the exponent first. 4 squared, if we remember, is 16. Now that we've done the exponents, we bring everything else down. Now from left to right, we're going to multiply and divide. That is the third step because we do not have any more parentheses or exponents. So the first multiplication or division we see is 5 times 7. So we're going to simplify that to 35, bring everything else down, minus 16 divided by 2. We're going to go through the order of operations for each step. There's no more parentheses, there's no more exponents, but we still have a division sign. So now we're going to do that. We get 16 divided by 2, which is 8. Then we bring down the rest. 35 minus 8. One operation left. We go ahead and solve. We see that our answer is 27. So hopefully that helps us remember how to solve through the order of operations. Okay, make sure you are committing this mnemonic or remembering the acronym for the order of operations. Okay, and now that you've seen these types of problems, you should be able to simplify any problem using this order of operation. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to try a few on your own after this lesson. And then in the next lesson, we'll be using this tool to learn how to evaluate expressions.